Well, hello there, YouTube. I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Hope your week is going well. Coming to you from a hump day here in South Alabama. Been a little bit dreary here, but clear weather coming. Looks like it's going to be a real nice weekend, and generally I can't complain. And if I did, nobody would care. Today I'm going to talk about overnight or slow transition to a raw food diet. Guys, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please go down there and hit that subscribe button now. Then click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. Saw my realtor this morning. I didn't sleep really good last night. Had a meeting with my realtor this morning. I had a lot of anxiety over the night thinking about different things, about the selling of this house. But got pretty good news. I was pretty encouraged by what I heard. And yeah, she seems to think this thing might sell a lot faster. Apparently, you can't equate real estate markets all the time because sometimes there's a lot, like nationwide there's a real estate boom in small towns. Doesn't mean anything, but apparently people are looking for houses right now, and she thinks it'll sell fairly quickly and probably get good money of what we're asking on it. But anyhow, so this is one of those classic questions that gets beat around overnight all the time. Do you just go raw vegan overnight? Do you go raw overnight, or do you slowly transition to it? When I say a slow transition, I'm saying a slow transition, but I mean a reasonable plant transition. And I'll get to that in a little bit, because some people I'm for a transition myself. But some people use transition kind of as an excuse, and they, like I wrote down here, I had a note here, transition doesn't, you don't park yourself in transition and just stay there. Transition is a place where you're moving forward, where you're working towards that raw vegan. A lot of people they're constantly transitioning, and it's kind of like, yeah, well, haven't you been transitioning for 2 years, cuz? And there's nothing wrong if you decide not to be fully raw, but know what you're doing here. Like I say, for me, and also too, you're always going to hear somebody pipe into the conversation and tell you how they went raw overnight, or tell you this or that. It's possible. Anything's possible. It's putting food in your mouth. It's not, like running 9.2 100 meter. But that's the exception. That person that's going to tell you, or that pipes up in a group and says, oh, I went raw overnight, and if they're really honest about it and they're really serious, that is an exception. Not many people do it, and actually it leads to failure, and it leads to angst in so many people that are just like stubborn. I mean, I've talked to so many people over the years that aren't even vegan anymore, that were gung-ho defiant, if they'd have been in front of me, would have looked me in the eye and told me I was wrong all day long, that you don't need to transition. You can go raw overnight, and not just raw, you go to that nut job level of raw. And now they're probably back eating at the drive-through again. Listen, if you can go raw overnight, do it. Do it, but don't do it over and over and over and over and yo-yo back and forth and try to go raw and then overcorrect, because that's what happens most of the time, is when people can't stay fully raw after trying to go fully raw too quickly. They make really bad decisions, and when they snap, they eat really bad stuff. I'd rather see you just do a slower, determined transition. Familiarize yourself with the ABCs of a plant-based diet and the ABCs of nutrition on a plant-based diet. Read some books. Don't worry about the raw right off the bat. Like I've told you guys a lot on this channel, I get my most valuable information from non-raw sources, people that don't talk about raw, that maybe not even be into raw. I take those solid principles of whole food plant-based diet and I extrapolate them to the raw part of it. But for me, it's like it's about a whole food plant-based. So read books like Eat to Live, Dr. Furman. It's a great way to get started. It's a great way to learn about this lifestyle. Dr. Greger, How Not to Die. My current biggest recommendation, definitely, if you're new to this lifestyle, go ahead and start focusing on that gut microbiome. And Fiber Fueled by Dr. W. I can't pronounce that name. Just look up Fiber Fueled. Everybody's talking about it these days. But things like that. and a lot more. There's the China study with T. Colin Campbell. There's reversing heart disease with Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. But there's a lot of solid, just plant-based information on the health and how that kind of stuff works. So just kind of like familiarize yourself with that science first. Now, as for actually transitioning, how fast, how slow, whatever, we'll talk a little bit about that. Now, first of all, where I recommend transitioning to a raw food diet, I look back and thinking about myself, where I was, everything else, I totally think you could go vegan overnight. That part, plant-based, vegan, yes, I believe you could go vegan overnight because there's enough substitutes out there. There's enough things. You're not trying to eat raw, but yes, you could go vegan. Even if you're eating some things like these fake meats and whatever, probably anything, just get off that animal product. Get off that animal product. But you could go vegan overnight. A little bit more, take your time a little bit with the raw. Don't push yourself, but just move forward at a comfortable level. I swear I've talked about this one method, and I actually did a little group about it and tried to share some stuff for a while. Nobody has taken what I consider my foolproof progression method and actually used it. I've talked about it on here 100 times. I've thrown it out there where you could do solid, and I think you could go from the standard American diet to a fully raw food diet in 5 months, tops. And I'm talking about a real thought out, laid out, planned progression to getting to raw food. All right, I've talked about this one before. First month, all you do, raw till 4. Raw till 4, that's all you're focusing on. Try to make good decisions for the rest of the day, but to start off with, raw till 4. Raw till noon. You're just starting off with raw till noon. Just keep it raw till noon. Make the best decisions afterwards. Do this for 30 days. The second month, do raw till. I don't know why it ever started raw till 4. I prefer raw till dinner because it's kind of like that 4 dinner. That's the last meal of the day. So do raw till dinner for a month. Okay, so you could go, let's say day 1 you started and you dropped all the animal products. 60 days in, you could easily, comfortably, without any pain to your body, be raw until dinner. 2 out of 3 meals of the day you could be raw. Then, I think probably in the 3rd month, a lot of people could just say, all right, I'm going fully raw the 3rd month. You've had enough time. You're already getting a good bit of, but let's really make sure you're going to take a little time and it's going to stick, because that's what it's about. It's not about getting there as quick as possible. I've seen people go raw overnight, and I've seen people go raw real quickly, but they're not raw anymore. And a lot, like I've said, are not vegan anymore. So, all right, instead, that 3rd month, you're going into that 3rd month, you're eating fully raw 3 days a week. The rest of the week, you're eating raw till dinner. The 4th month, you're eating fully raw 5 days a week. You got 2 days a week still in that 4th month where you're eating cooked food 2 days a week. So psychologically, you got a little, you got something. You're not ready to be fully raw yet. So you can look forward to it. Plan around that. Stay there. Then that 5th month, you go fully raw. Now, if you're doing this thing and focusing on the nutrition, which I've been talking about a lot lately, you don't even have to push yourself on that 5th month. Just continuously be moving forward. Maybe you need a little bit more time, but if you're in your 6th or 7th month and you're eating fully raw like 4 or 5 days a week, don't worry about, I'm not fully raw yet. Like I say, worry about the health of your body, what you're putting into your body. But easily 5-6 months. But it has to be a progression like that, step by step by step by step. It just seems just try it for me. If you've had a problem with this, just try that slower progression. A lot of people, like I say, and this is where I like to mention this guy, Arnold Ehret. Of natural hygiene fame, one of the godfathers of natural hygiene. All the hardcore people are always talking about him, this and that. Well, even Ehret, who was, I take a lot of information from Eric's like everybody else that I've read about in plant-based, raw, natural hygiene, whatever. I take little bits here and there. I'm not like he's not my guru. I'm not like double down everything Eric all the time. A lot of good solid information. And even Arnold, Eric suggested a slow transition or a slower transition or a transition to this lifestyle. He didn't recommend, unless you had some sort of like just very immediate illness or immediate health issue. He didn't even recommend going fully raw vegan like overnight. He recommended that transition. So once again, it's not about that label of being fully raw, of being able to be in some forum or Facebook group in a place where that's kind of that badge of honor, and it's like you're not part of the cool group. You can be in the group, but people aren't really responding to you, or they don't really take your opinions all that seriously because you're not one of the elite. You're not one of that top 3 or 4%, but you can get there. And like I say, if you want to be fully raw, that's how you get there. If you're not going to be fully raw, if you're going to do like me and keep some cooked food in there for reasons whatever, for me, like I say, the number one reason that I include cooked food here is to keep weight on. And with summer here, I had my first watermelon juice this morning and just delayed me from eating. And it's already, I can tell, we're only May 10th or so today, and I'm already having I'm like having to eat like a maniac to keep that weight on. So anyhow, just my 2 cents worth, but I would totally recommend a reasonable transition. Let's don't even say a slow transition, just say a reasonable, well thought out transition. And once again, let me just preach the same thing over and over. Health above everything else. Health above the raw, health above this, health above that. That's it. Hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you here at the end of the week. Peace.